We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you another episode of We Can Help with Dave and Woody, already in progress.
Oh, we're in progress.
Always.
Hey, so before we get too far into this, I'm not going to steal your thunder, Woody, but I do have I hold in my hands the final killer whale of my six pack. So I don't know.
I was going to say, of all killer whales or just your six pack?
Well, we maimed a couple down at SeaWorld, and this is all I got left.
No, we're not allowed to use them anymore, I don't think.
All right, here we go. Ooh, could you hear it?
Barely.
Yeah, I kind of made it out.
So maybe like your last pass of gas, you kind of made it out.
Oh.
So anyhow, hey, while you're pouring and making
go ahead.
it,
take the show.
Did you watch the British Open this weekend?
Caught a couple things. There was some oddities going on. I didn't see it all though. What's going on?
Well, it was absolutely amazed. Before we bring on our guests, I was absolutely amazed at the marketing campaign that Target put on.
British Open?
At the British Open, yeah. Almost in every camera shot that NBC did, they would point out in the background with a bubble, and it would say Target on it, and it would point to the ground, so you knew exactly where the target was around the British Open.
The store?
Yeah.
Targets in Britain?
Yeah, and in fact, sometimes they would actually put the amount of yards to the location.
Did they have those carts that lock up when you leave the parking lot?
No, I didn't show that. It just showed you where it was in the background. I thought that was a marketing gem on Target's behalf.
So leave us a comment and a thumbs up if you think that's funny.
Well, you didn't let it finish.
Oh, I'm sorry. Finish, please.
So let me. Are you in marketing, Woody, at all?
No, not at all.
Okay, good. Because I'm not a big golf fan, not a golfer, but I'm just gonna guess that the arrow was like where the guy was aiming for. You know,
if
it was a fairway shot, like where the next best follow-up shot would be.
There you go. Okay.
I don't know. I'm guessing.
My bad.
Yeah.
You know, all these years I played golf, I never aimed. So I didn't know.
Our guests yet to be named are pretty sharp people.
Yes.
You want to introduce our guest, and then I'll tell about what happened in history on this day.
Sure. So today we have our second overall guest of the show, another fellow Sigma Chi from Eta Pi chapter at UCF, Patrick Kelly, and also I think we talked about it, my Magister at UCF, which means like the teacher, the guy who brings the pledges, brings them into the organization, teaches them the Sigma Chi ways, the secret grips,
Sigma Chi.
I believe it was Latin for master.
We asked Alexa that. She didn't even know what the hell it was.
Yeah, she didn't know Magister. I think it's somewhere between magistrate and teacher and master.
So shows what I learned. I didn't even remember what the hell the title was.
You didn't want to be one on a fishing boat, though. Okay.
A leader.
Okay.
All right.
A lot of offshore experience there, Dave.
Oh, you want to go camping? All right. So let me tell you. Well, first of all, welcome, Patrick. Welcome to our humble show.
Well, thanks for allowing me to do this. You guys always sound like you have fun, and hopefully I won't screw it up too bad.
Well, we disguise it well then. It's a pain in the ass to work with Dave every week.
Well, that goes two ways, my friend. So let me talk about what happened in history today, because we started something last week. Well, it wasn't last week. When was it? A couple weeks ago.
You started with July 4th.
Okay, hold on. On July 24th, 1969, Apollo 11 splashed down in the Pacific Ocean after spending more than 8 days in space and traveling over 950,000 miles. Talk about a frequent flyer plan. The splashdown occurred at 5:50 a.m. local time, 920 miles southwest of Honolulu and 13 miles from the USS Hornet.
Did they always land in the Pacific?
I don't know.
You think they would have came down closer to home over in the Atlantic?
Well, it does seem like there was probably a government contract involved. You launch from the Cape. We'll have space headquartered in Houston, which I never really understood. And then we're going to pick them up in the Pacific Ocean. So it's a union gig, probably. What do you think, Patrick?
Engineers. What do they know? Speaking of your backgrounds, you did that British Battle of Britain thing.
Yeah.
Well, on Netflix now, they have that World War II in color, and one of the episodes was about the Battle of Britain that I just watched, and your dates were all screwed up, dude. There's no way.
I only take what the intranet tells me.
Well, it was incorrect.
Hmm. All right.
I mean, it happened in that time frame, but there's no way it finished on that day.
All right. Well, I'm not going to argue with it.
I'll ask Winston Churchill. We'll see what's up with that.
Okay, so what do we got? What do we got on our plate? You got stuff, Woody?
Well, I would like
Patrick's
to.
got some great stories, by the way.
Who does?
Patrick, our guest.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
He's
didn't,
up here in the
didn't see him
corner.
up there in the upper left corner. Now I don't know where to point for the YouTube thing. I think it's still
That's
over
it.
there.
I
All
think
right.
so.
Anyhow, YouTube, subscribe, like, share. Find us on all the big, all the majors. Anyhow, Mr. Patrick, how you doing?
I'm doing well, doing well. How are
And-
you, Woody? Mr.
Just
Eric
fine.
Weissert?
Yes. I go by Woody though, so my fans can't track me down. I'm just curious if you're prepared for the amount of fame you're going to garner from this one episode.
Yeah, I used to have a radio show. I didn't tell
outta
you
here.
this before I came on because I want to intimidate
He's
you.
a professional.
But it was, actual broadcast, AM radio, political talk show, basically. Talked about local issues. And, so, and I forgot, what the hell was the question?
I forget now too, because I'm, the fame that you're going to.
Oh, yeah.
from the show.
So that brought, I had at least 50 listeners. So that brought, a modest amount of fame. And I kind of dealt with it.
Which AM station were you on?
WNZF in Flagler County. News Flagler.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
News Flagler, yeah.
I worked in the radio business fresh out of college for 3 to 4 years, and I was in Orlando. What's wrong, Dave?
Oh, sorry.
You're one of those RTV majors?
No. I was the engineer, taking guy the transmission, and I also board operated and did produce talk shows. So I did sports talk in Memphis, and then we ran some really in the great market of Fort Pierce, Florida. We had an AM station there, also an FM, which was much larger, but they would do the worst local shows on that network. So
I think that was his way of saying that my show was pretty bad because it was a local radio show.
No, I said it could be. We ran the worst ones ever. These people would come in. You're like, okay, go ahead. Microphone's on. 3 people are listening. But yes, so you're a professional. You've done this before. You feel quite comfortable. And you did a political talk show.
Yeah, mostly. We talk about local issues. I would try to get timely guests on. We would take some calls from callers. Not that many people call in. So supposedly, like if you have 1,000 people listening, only one will probably ever take the time to pick up the phone and call. And we had one guy that was a repeat caller, called almost every week, and he was kind of fun.
I was gonna say that guy's a nincompoop, right?
Yeah, we had those on the sports talk too, and I'd be screening calls. I'm like, dude, you've been on 6 times in a row. It's enough, kind of thing. But did you ever have Mr. Dave Theus, potential Congressman Dave Theus, on your show?
No, because by the time he got around to running, I wasn't doing the show anymore.
Okay.
So,
well, one of the goals we thought with this show would be to kind of get into the Sigma Chi angle, since we do have a majority of listeners, and since you're a self-professed listener of all episodes, you probably heard where I think in this day and age, fraternities get a bad rap. Right.
Yes, absolutely.
People do bad things all the time, but they tend to focus on it more when it's a fraternity member. Dave, are we interrupting your dinner?
Oh, I'm eating pickles. Go ahead.
He said he had a whole ramekin full.
Mark Patrick, I'm eating my gherkins. Go ahead.
Okay. And so we're exploring and kind of setting up. We thought we'd get some of the fellow SIGs on here, and you don't even have to be from the great Eta Pi chapter Sigma Chi, now 50 years old, to be on here. So I thought maybe we'd run through a little bit. Like, so you mainly grew up in the Flagler area where you are today?
Yeah, we moved, my family moved there in 1975. I was 9 years old. So that's kind of, where my family's been ever since. And I moved back to, this area after, a few, not immediately after graduating college, but, 5 or 6 years later after that, when I was kind of getting into my career, wound up gravitating back to this area. Yeah.
So, where'd your family come from?
My parents grew up in southeastern Pennsylvania, Valley Forge area.
Okay. I was from Easton, Pennsylvania myself. So
okay, yeah, they went to Phoenixville High School.
Okay.
Not real close to Easton.
Yeah,
but...
I moved to Florida when I was 9 as well. So
okay, yeah.
As well. But I forgot I had something funny to say there. I totally lost it.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe Patrick can help retrieve it. Because he's our guy that.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you're supposed to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, but I'm not a mind reader. That's
I know what it was.
Perfected that art yet?
So
it probably had something to do with the hair he had in high school and college, but I'm not
no longer
sure on that. That's what I'm feeling.
I was curious if it was the move at 9 years old that is where you picked up your affinity for postal offices and visiting them on a daily basis. It was that.
Yeah. So
we need to know about that, Patrick.
Yeah, I knew to be prepared to talk about this. So look, my office is here in Palm Coast.
Okay.
And in between my home and the office, I drive right by the post office. So every day I stop at the post office, go to the PO box, pick up business mail, because there's usually things like payments and stuff in there from our clients. So, that's it.
You don't use.
I'm not cruising the line, hitting
looking for stamps
or anything like that. Yeah, no.
Well, that's a boring story.
Yeah, I know. It's a big letdown.
Is that where you had your moment about holding the door though for people?
Yeah. Because I was walking out, and this guy was, he was that distance away where you're like, man, if I hold it, I'm really kind of inconveniencing myself. So what's protocol? How much do I inconvenience myself? How much am I obligated to inconvenience myself to hold the door for somebody? And that's, that was kind of the quandary.
I mean, you're a nice guy, but you don't want to look like you've been, taken advantage of, right?
Yeah. And I don't want to, stand there for like 15 seconds when somebody's walking really slow, or they stop and turn around because they got to go back and get something they left.
Or they have a cane or a wheelchair. You don't want to deal with all that. So let the door close.
Take forever,
No, what I like to do is open the door just enough to slide out sideways and then let the door shut behind me. So then nobody cares.
Yeah. No expectations.
Exactly.
All right. Good show.
Yeah, thank you for joining us tonight.
You guys had a lot of fun with that post office stuff, and it's a big letdown.
Yeah, so we were hoping for a big story that we could delve into. But so what gets you to UCF?
Interesting. So, I was actually a pretty good student in high school. There were some laurels and such involved. And I did, I had colleges actually, sending me stuff. I could have gone anywhere. At that point in time, I thought I wanted to be a computer science major. And
I was doing that myself.
Yeah. And I didn't want to burden my dad with the cost of MIT, so the best school in the state for that was UCF. Of course, it took like one Fortran class for me to realize that really wasn't what I wanted to do. So yeah, but anyhow, that's what initially led me to choose UCF.
If I remember correctly, too, that computer science lab was rocking. That was horrible.
It was in that little circular building next to the library.
Yeah, and it was tough. There were times when if a project was due the next day, it was tough finding time at a workstation.
Yeah, people don't understand. You didn't have your own computer back then. You had to go in and basically rent time at a station on a mainframe screen.
Yeah, the IBM 4300s. Is that what those things were called? Or?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, it was all green screen.
All right. The it was one of your fellow high school students who got me to UCF.
Was that Rick Price?
Yes.
Yeah.
We were working together at a Winn-Dixie in Daytona Beach. And we were just talking one night, and I'm like, I don't know, I would probably just go to community college. Suddenly he goes, well, I'm going to, a friend of mine's at UCF. And he goes, "Why don't you come down and we'll go look at the universities?" I'm like, "All right." And then I'm like, "Why not?" So there was also another Eric Willis. Do you remember him?
Yeah. How'd you know
Yep.
Eric?
He was the friend of Rick Price's that we lived with at first.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
So not to bore everybody with names they don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric Willis was a stud, man. He was like Mr. GQ, modeling and all that stuff. And then me,
Yeah.
110 pound Woody shows up. So, Dave, how'd you get to UCF?
I had a 79 Impala.
I knew you were going to do that.
Actually, it was a Caprice Classic with dubs. No, it's a long story. It's too long for the podcast. I started off playing a little football out west at University of Southern Colorado, and realized that wasn't my forte. And I came back to UCF and thought I would walk on there and impress the people. That didn't really work out either. So I went to Valencia Community College, and I was one of those poor guys that had to pay for my school. So
Valencia.
When I got through Valencia, working my way through school, then I went to London.
Oh, that's when you took your London sojourn.
Yeah, I jetted off to London and said, "Hey, I got to go back and get done with school." So I came home and finished one semester at Valencia, got my AA, and got pretty serious about it, and jumped back into UCF and moved on with my finance career, as we know.
I paid my way through school, buddy. So don't give me that.
I'm not knocking you, Woody. I'm just saying I took a little diversion.
You sure did.
Now I understand why Dave was like 37 years old when he arrived at UCF, right?
Yeah, that's what Thompson said one time in a post. He put out something on Facebook, and one of his friends says, "Who is that, Frank the Tank?" I'm like, "Oh, you stupid son of a gun." And he goes, "No, that guy was like 40 when he came in." I'm like, "Okay, 24, 40, whatever it takes."
Oh, that's classic.
Frank
But gosh, I got to stop reminiscing here because I lose.
Yeah, we're not supposed to do that.
I know. All right, so you get to UCF. Do you know you're going to join a fraternity when you get to college?
No, I didn't really. I mean, I kind of thought I probably would look into it because my dad had been a Kappa Sig at Cornell.
We partied.
My dad was an Ivy Leaguer, man. So anyhow, so he had been a Kappa Sig at Cornell.
No, wait, back up. Cornell.
It's Ivy.
Yeah, I grew up next to Lafayette College. They would try to slide in that Ivy. I'm like, no, you're a minor league Ivy.
Cornell is part of the Ivy League, man.
Is it really?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Do you not follow college football?
I don't follow which league every
loses
team.
to Yale and Harvard every single year.
I follow college football. I do not follow the Ivy League of college football. It's not exactly
not a lot of big offensive line come out of Cornell.
So yeah, but it was interesting. So freshman year, I roomed with a couple guys that I'd gone to high school with. John Miles, John Allen. You probably remember them.
Oh, that's right. John Miles went.
Yeah. And so we'd gone to high school together.
Yes.
And it was interesting because, small high school, everybody knew each other, but we didn't really run in the same circles. I mean, when I say same circles, FPC was like the Venn diagram of high schools where every circle kind of intersected the other one somewhere, and there were probably like a couple little places where we coexisted together. So we knew each other. We're kind of friendly. And they called me up and said, "Hey, you want to room with us, looking to share costs." Sure. So we're just talking one day. We go, "Hey, we're hearing about this fraternity rush. You guys want to go to some rush parties?" And I can't even remember who started the conversation. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was one of them. And we all three of us went out and we went to all the rush parties together. There was like no deal that said, "Okay, we're all going to pledge the same fraternity." It was just like, hey, let's check this out. And so, we went to parties. I think we went, Sigma Chi, the Teeks, ATO, SAE.
Wow.
I felt obligated to go to a Kappa Sig party. Just didn't really click with those guys. My dad was a little disappointed, but And funny thing was, we did attempt to go to one Pike party, and it was I don't know if you guys remember, they used to do that Playboy Bunny party thing.
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you had to wear like coat and tie.
Oh.
And all their little sisters were dressed up like Playboy bunnies. Maybe they stopped doing that a couple years later. Hey, look, this was the early 80s.
Definitely by now they have stopped the.
Well, that's where the no jacket required came from.
Yeah, right. So anyhow, we show up, and it was the same night that UCF was that the Sigma Chi's were having the new wave party. You know, so we're all dressed, you know, with like cut off t-shirts and stuff.
Right.
I almost slipped there, Dave, but I said stuff.
Okay.
So
Oh, well, it's fine.
Us, yeah,
It's fine.
But and so they wouldn't let us in. So we're like, let's go back to the Sigma Chi party.
Oh, the Pikes wouldn't let you. I thought you meant the
Yeah,
Sigs
Pikes wouldn't let us in because we weren't wearing ties. So it's like, okay. So then, you know, and I don't remember how many bids those guys got. You know, I think they got at least one or two.
You got one from Lambda Chi, I bet.
Who
I don't
didn't?
think we went to a Lambda Chi party.
you still got a bid to the Lambda Chi.
I probably did, yeah. But I got a couple of bids, and we had kind of talked about it. And again, like I said, there was no deal, but we all were just like, yeah, the only one I think I really want to pledge is Sigma Chi. You know, and just because the guys, you know, I mean, because we met guys like, you know, John Gill, Ed Ciotti, Tim Putoff, you know, that was kind of Tom Oros, you know, all these guys that later became really, you know, good friends, people that, you know, and funny as hell, you know. I mean, almost every one of those guys could make you laugh. So it wound up being just a super easy decision to pledge Sigma Chi just because of the guys we met.
Yeah. Did they give you a bid, or did you have to go beg for one?
No, there was a bid there.
Oh, okay, good.
And so I just, and I can't remember what it was. Was it a piece of paper? And then I don't even remember how the hell it worked.
You got it. You went into at least in my year. What year were you? 84?
Fall 83. Yeah.
Fall 83. Okay, 2 years ahead of me. So 85, and remember I pledged twice. You went in a room and you pulled it. You gave them your name, and they gave you an envelope, and in the envelope were how many bids you got. And then you would choose one of them and give it back to them. That way they could
there was like
influence
a or something.
Yeah.
For each. Yeah, that's it. And
that's not how I got mine.
Really?
What's that?
No, I went into a room and there was this like a charity chariot thing, and they hoisted me up on their shoulders, and then a bunch of guys carried me around and said, "Theus, we want you to be a part of our." I was like, okay. I mean, you know,
seems a little overkill. But, well.
You know, it's funny. I don't know. Do either of you guys remember Richard Passine from SAE? No. Well, he rushed me hard, and he was a really nice guy. And we went to a couple of the SAE parties, and we even went back on like, you know, one of the Saturday night parties. And he was just shocked that I didn't pledge SAE.
I'm still in awe that they were able to lift Dave up in a chariot.
Yeah, I wish, you know, I must not have been there that day.
I was in better shape back then.
I had a job then. I was working part-time. I must have been at work.
There you go. You missed it. You missed
Probably.
that day.
Probably. I mean, they carried me around campus for a little while. And I said, come on, guys, enough. All right.
What do you think of Russia? All right. Well, no, I'm just kind of curious. What is I can't remember if they were allowed to have alcohol at the rush parties or not, if there was like a side room you could go. I don't remember, but I'm curious what a rush party today looks like.
That would be interesting. Yeah. So, you know, if I remember in fall 83, there was no alcohol at any of the parties during the week, but then on like Saturday night, there would be alcohol.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
Was that the time they had Nights Out, the original Nights Out pub? Wasn't it part of the student union there on campus? Wasn't there
no, it was not. Nights Out pub was across the street. Next
no, but there was a bar there, because I remember Rossi telling me about it.
It didn't open up till 86.
The Wild Pizza.
Yeah, Wild Pizza. That was it.
No. There was a place that you could get beer on.
Oh, I know what he's talking about. It was in the student union next to the it was a little room next to the cafeteria.
I never went in. Yeah,
I wasn't of drinking age, so I couldn't go in there, but because they had just raised it from 19 to 21.
19 to 21. Yeah, right. I got grandfathered in.
Yeah, I did not. Right when I was 18, they raised it to 21. So, Dave, what are you doing tonight?
But oddly, I remember you drinking.
No, it was just water. It was
prior to 21.
It was beer colored water. Come on now. You know, I was thinking, I don't have any memories of me and you, Patrick, hanging out at all, which you're 2 years ahead of me. You were kind of getting serious about the time I came into college. So definitely remember you as my Magister, obviously.
Yeah, and as a McGeester, one of the things I really tried to do was never show any favoritism to anybody, and so you kind of,
Is that why you treated me like shit?
Yeah, no. It's funny. Dave said something about you pledging twice, and I don't have a recollection of that.
I didn't make grades in the fall.
Okay, so you were a fall 84 carryover.
85. No, you're right.
Yeah, that was spring 85, right? I was spring 85. No, spring 86.
Yep.
That's right.
I
yes.
pledged in fall 85, didn't make grades. And to this day, and this is one of the things this is things you don't hear about fraternities, right? Is you guys basically sat me down at the end of pledging and I didn't make grades. And you said, listen, the world's not over. We're not going to let you become a brother because you're not making grades. I had a 1.6 GPA.
Stellar.
And you didn't just dump me out in the street and see you later. You're like, listen, come back, try it, pledge again, and see if you get another bid. And if you do, we'll work with you on being a better student. And and it wasn't through giving me cheat sheets or anything like that. You gave me a good big brother, Sam Britton, and he sat down and we started working about how to study, teaching me how to be. I had the brain power, I just didn't know how to use it. Was essentially it. So Sigma Chi definitely got me through college. That's one of the big things.
They didn't mention because we need the dues. I mean,
well, not with me.
Let's be honest. We can really use the dues.
I was trying every way I could not to pay dues because I was paying my way through. I didn't have any money.
Well, one point something isn't too bad. You remember John Allen? John Allen, he was the other guy I just mentioned that was roommate.
Yeah, I remember the name, but I can't picture him.
So his nickname was 0.5. Guess how he got that nickname? that was his original after his first year. Yeah. So he was a guy rough. Who I think he came from a strict household, and I think he just the freedom he just couldn't handle it. And the guy was, he was drinking every night. And
I got the FOMO is what I had. I was a fear of missing out on the fun. And so I went to everything instead of study. And I didn't know how to study. I regurgitated all the way through high school and got good grades that way. So.
I think that's a common story.
You think so?
I had to learn how to study. You get through it on your wits when you're in high school.
Right.
But I did the same thing. I think I don't want to get into that, but yeah, same thing.
What was your GPA at Valencia?
Well, I pledged and I made it, but then I got kicked out.
Yes, you made it.
I made it, but then I got kicked out that first semester.
What?
I had to go back to Valencia. I had
you're talking about. I thought you were talking about Sigma Chi. I'm like, what are you talking about?
No, I got kicked out of school.
Out of Valencia?
No, so I got initiated. In the first semester, I was just drinking all the time, doing what you were talking about. Right. I would go to people's houses and go, "Come on, it's time to play," and they're like, dude, we got to study. I'm like, no. And I would keep looking for times to play. Lo and behold, everybody was studying. And so I think I got a 1.97 or something stupid.
I did better than you. I did a 1.7, man.
1.97. Anyway, so they kicked me out. And then it was my first, you've been in sales. Patrick, have you been in sales your career, part of it?
Yeah. Banking was basically sales when I was in banking for 21 years.
So I thought I was quite the salesman. So I'm sitting in front of that student review board with I think the president of the college was in on it and the Panhellenic person was there. And I'm selling. I'm like, oh, no, that's going to be good. I'm going to turn this thing around. It's all good to go. And I've never really lost. and they said, Mr. Theos, we've seen this before. So we appreciate your valor, but you're going back to Valencia and take statistics and whatever else again. And then you can prove yourself back. And I walked out of there thinking, I'll show you, screw you. I won't do another class. And then I said, well, that just means I'm going to fail. That doesn't help Dave. And then, then I had this whole emotional struggle with, oh, go make A's, I'll show you. And then I was like, well, then they win because I make A's, So I figured it out. I grew up that semester and came back got on the dean's list.
So did you do well out of the gate, Patrick? Or
I did okay. I did high school, I think like you said, I practically slept through high school. It was just way too easy. And my grades weren't as good. My first, I got a couple C's, that kind of thing. And I kind of really had to learn how to become a better student in college.
Yeah.
But I did, in my GPA, in my GPA, in my major, my GPA was like, 3.2 or 3.4.
Yeah.
So once I got into the
Yeah.
tougher classes that meant more, I had become a much better student and got some pretty decent grades there at the end.
I made the dean's list like 3 of the last 4 semesters because once I got in my major, I was absolutely thrilled with what I was learning and doing. It's all those music appreciation classes and stuff that really turned me off to college.
I'm impressed. I think I made the dean's list twice, so you got me beat there.
Well, so that semester that I'm talking about, I remember I was taking an international banking class, and it was a Thursday night. Those night classes were 7 to 9:45. They were the worst. And it was out there just past the business which is now, I don't know what it is now, but it was on the end of the campus where those portables were, past the business building on the left, and it was those portables back there.
Yep.
And so I'm taking this night class, and all my guys are drinking. That's Thursday night. They're out drinking. And so I went to drop ad, and I remember saying to the lady, I got to drop out of this class. And like, well, what's the reason for dropping out of this class? I said, well, it's conflicting with my drinking schedule. And they said, oh, you're going places, Mr. Theus. You're going to go far.
She goes, well, what about a 10 a.m. class? You go, no, that conflicts too.
That's what I'm sleeping in.
So I had a little bit of a rude awakening. They taught me a life lesson that all fun and games, my friend. You have to get serious. And I think each of us can accredit our fraternity life, whether it's peer pressure, good, bad, or indifferent. We were around a bunch of guys who understood the value of education and also the value of having a good time, but time management and those things that we prioritized.
Yeah. And
we became better people for it. So to your point, Woody, fraternities are not worthy of a bad rap all the time.
Right. Well, wasn't that one of I only say this because last night I was reading a magazine I'd taken on the airplane to the 50th anniversary, and the brochure for the gala night was in there, and the Jordan Standard was in there, right?
Probably.
Yeah. And one of them was, I didn't realize something about being a man of great knowledge or a great student or something like that was one of the standards listed in the Jordan Standard. So see, now you know why I was last in my pledge class, Patrick.
I don't remember being last, but yeah,
I was dead last.
Well, Woody, I was best pledge, and I
know. So that paid off because he was in the next pledge class. So because of how we organized the meetings, me and him always sat next to each other. So it ended up paying off for me.
Look at us now.
I was thoroughly worried about who was going to get best pledge in the next class. So I did a lot of campaigning for you, Dave.
Sure you did.
It's funny because I remember they were talking about Bonfani being best pledge, and I'm like, best pledge? Like, I don't even remember there being the best pledge. But
all right. Well, does this conclude our Sigma Chi episode?
Do you have some other questions, Dave, you'd like to
regarding our Sigma Chi past?
Yeah.
No, I just want to tell the listening audience, and I shared this with Patrick before we got started, that we have found some listening audience within our ranks of fraternal brothers, whether they're Eta Pi's, and also a international version through LinkedIn, where we share the episodes there. And so I think this will be a cool little transition for those guys that are listening to us and can reflect on their own story. As Woody has mentioned before, we would open the door to an invite to bring some other people in. But we do want to get on with the show because it's, did you write the time down, Woody?
Yeah, we're about half an hour in.
Okay. So we got a couple things. I don't want to steal your thunder, Woody. You're usually the straight guy. Do you have, I told Patrick to come to the table with a couple, kind of fun stories. He has I think we got to go with the addition to his family though, pretty quickly.
Oh, really? What do you got? Did you get a new cat?
Yeah, no, new puppy.
Oh no.
Yeah. We had a dog. It was a rescue dog we had, and I'm a beer guy. His name was Guinness, and the name fit him really well. And we lost him Christmas Eve.
Oh, Jesus.
16 and a half years old. He lived a good long life. And so there was a period of mourning, and we just, we recently decided, all right, probably time to because we're dog people,
Okay.
time to get a pup. And so we just did over the weekend, and so forgot how much damn work they are.
Yeah,
Like
I
having a
got one in
child.
my house too. Tell me about
Yeah, it's almost like having a kid.
Exactly, except this one doesn't even listen or pretend to
So you
listen.
got a golden, or no, you got a yellow lab.
Yellow lab. Yeah. So when we got our last dog, Teresa kind of handled it. She was trying to recreate her prior dog by picking one that looked like the prior dog. He turned out being nothing like the prior dog, but he was a pretty good dog eventually. So this kind of fell on me. We've been kind of looking. There's all these sites out there like Paw Raid and this, that, and the other where they're like a clearinghouse for breeders. And yeah, and of course you're finding things, they're all over the place. And then there's extra money if you want them to fly the dog to you. So Sunday morning, I just, I'm like, look, I know I'm better at searching and weeding through this stuff than she is. So I just
fly your dog.
Sitting there while I'm drinking my morning coffee and I'm on my phone, and I find there's an AKC marketplace. So the American Kennel Club. So I'm like, all right. So you pick your breed, little drop down menu,
right?
And even specific as Labrador yellow, and you put whatever your desired radius is. I put 250 miles in. Bam.
You were committed.
There's a guy. Yeah, I figured you're driving.
I would have done 10 miles. Oh, honey, no dogs.
Yeah, you would have got no hits. So turns out there was a guy up in Jacksonville. He had puppies that were 12 weeks old or 10 weeks old, and usually the magic number is 8. So I'm like, damn, they're ready to go now.
Yeah.
So I messaged the guy. They've got messaging capability built into their website. Send him a message in like 2 or 3 minutes. I got a reply back. He's like, yeah, I got 5 pups available, and they're ready to go home as early as today.
Did you ask him to mail it to you?
No, he wouldn't do that. He said they tried that once. And apparently the holes weren't big enough in the box.
It got returned.
So I was like, hey, want to go to Jacksonville? And she's like when? Well, I said, I don't know when you want to go. And she's like, well, it's Sunday morning. How about 2:00?
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So I messaged the guy 2:00. Yep, fine. So we go up, got mauled by puppies, and brought one home, and he's been a pretty good boy. But I would recommend anybody looking for it. If you're looking for a specific breed, I think there's advantages with the AKC site. They kind of have a no puppy mill guarantee.
Right.
And we found that even the cost was better than it was on some of these other.
Oh, I thought it would be more. That's why I was.
No, I think these other ones probably have heavy transaction fees. That's what I'm guessing. That's their business model, right?
Right.
Their business model is that, you find a puppy and that's how they make money. AKC is a different animal. They're more about putting on the dog shows and dog education and that kind of a thing. So I'm guessing their costs for, listing are probably significantly less.
I'm curious.
The name of this,
name.
What's the name of the dog?
Oh, his name is River.
Like a river runs through it.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. My wife picked the name. It's been a hit with everybody else, Dave. My granddaughter loves it.
Does it pass the scream test when you stand on the front porch and you yell, River?
Well, we haven't had to do that yet. But when we say River, he comes running over. He's learned his name in just a couple of days. So what is it? It's Wednesday, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got it down. He comes running when you call his name.
Good for you.
Treats
Congratulations.
Great motivator. Those little training treats.
So, not to dwell on this too much longer, but what was the criteria? Because we were yellow lab people when my kids were younger. So, what was the criteria that you were looking for when what is the parameters or the characteristics that you were looking for?
Oh, well, I could sit here and go, well, we wanted one that was the classic. Look, I think yellow labs are cute, especially when they're puppies. I had a yellow lab before, incredibly loyal dog. So, there wasn't a whole lot of criteria, I think, other than which is the pup that you kind of make a connection with, And I think to some degree, you almost have to let them pick you out because we're people. And if you love a breed, you're going to love every one of those puppies. There was 7 of them there because there were 2 that weren't available yet, or they weren't available, but somebody already had them basically. So they were claimed, but hadn't been taken. So they were unavailable, but they were with the other 5 that were available. And this guy just, you just feel that connection with them. They all looked pretty much identical. They were like so uniform in their appearance, puppy to puppy. Yeah. And wanted a male. I did want a male. I've just, from my experience with dogs, I like having male dogs. I think there's fewer, I don't know, fewer issues with them.
Yeah, yeah. So this dog is of Tellurian origin, is what you're saying.
Yes, absolutely. Wow.
Yeah, it's the word of the week. I even was able to squeeze that in, Dave. It's Tellurian.
Oh boy.
You want to ask her?
I
No
do
way
wanna-
she gets it.
Alexa, define Tellurian.
Tellurian is usually defined as an apparatus for showing the manner in which the diurnal rotation and annual revolution of the Earth and the obliquity of its axis produce the alternation of day and night and the changes of the seasons.
That is not the definition I have.
Pretty much the dog I was looking for.
I thought
The
it was
only-
somebody that was from Telluride.
Right. No, it's of or inhabiting the Earth.
Well,
So
think
I was
you're
like, the
close.
dog is an inhabitant of Earth, you know? So the only thing that matched up was the word Earth.
Yeah.
We gave it a shot.
And I think that was probably the real connection because I too am an inhabitant of Earth. And so it was like, it was made in heaven.
You too?
Yes, yes.
All right. River. What a beautiful yeah.
I have one more question. Do you have a fenced in yard that runs around there, or do you take it for a walk?
Yeah, no fenced in that you're not just cutting him loose. So yeah, and we're not going very long walks right now because he's
Right.
tiny. Yeah,
Well,
so front yard only right now.
What do you think is more humbling or embarrassing? Standing on the side of the road and cars are passing you while your dog's pooping, or picking up your dog poo as cars are passing? What is the...
Yeah, the thing, I'm not the right guy to ask because I don't embarrass easily.
No, really?
Yeah, and I think too, it's like, well, when you're picking the poop up, you're kind of showing that you're like a good Samaritan, So there's no shame in that.
I try not to make eye contact if I see someone on the side of the road, they're standing, the dog's pooping. I'm always like, don't make eye contact.
I usually just drop my trowel and then right next to
Enjoy it.
Right.
Oh,
We should ask Dave's wife that question.
yeah.
I don't pick it up. So there.
I mean, if the guy's already going to pick up the dog poo.
No,
Yes.
so our dogs are gone. We lived on some acreage when we had ours, but so my mother-in-law has a history of having small dogs, and so when I'll volunteer, I'll go walk the dog, and she lives in a condo, and so she goes for the Wall Street Journal plastic bag because she gets the Wall Street Journal, and I'm like, no, I'm not taking that down there with me. She says she insists, and now I've just succumbed to, okay, I'll take the bag, and so I go downstairs with the dog. I'm like, and I'm looking at the dog going, I'm not picking this up, right? And the dog's like, yeah, I know, we got this, no problem. I think one time though, there was a bunch of old ladies that lived there, and they were watching to see what I was going to do, and I actually bent over with the plastic bag in my
Faked
hand,
it.
and I didn't pick it up. I was like, no, that's bullshit.
You just
And I
faked it.
tied a knot in the bag.
He
and
should
kicked it over.
have picked it up and then started putting your face in the bag. No.
I should have taken a Milky Way with me and said, this is delicious. No,
Dave, do you plan on running for a public office again?
Probably not. No.
Okay, good, because that may have just
You
chances
buried
right
any
there.
hope.
No, I just refuse to pick it up, and I know, I don't know. That's a whole nother thing. I'm guilty of driving in the left lane, and I finally
the rain's
gave
just
that-
going to wash it away eventually.
Yeah, it's fertilizer. I mean, what the hell are we talking about here? I mean, come on. Anyway,
Look at those beautiful green spots.
Yes. All the work of my dog.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that used to say that nothing grows where Fido goes. So I don't know. It's whatever. To each his own. If you feel inclined to do that, I respect you for that. But I'm just not going to pick it up.
Well,
Anyway.
you mentioned you had something to share tonight, Dave.
Well, I got a couple things.
Is this a fist at the clouds?
No, I think that our last show we did do a small snippet about what's Joe gonna do, and I thought it was interesting that maybe since we've kind of things have
That's
played
true.
out.
Yeah.
And I listened to the episode night before last, and I was like, wow, we kind of of the three options, we didn't nail it perfectly, but it was pretty. I don't know if it was obvious, but turns out our president has succumbed to the big donors, right?
Yes.
And has, in avoidance of damaging the down ticket, as they say, hurting the senators and representatives that are running for their offices, has acquiesced his service to rerun or to run again. Now, the next thing we left off was Kamala. Now, I've heard in the news that we're saying it wrong. Kamala or Kamala? How do you say the damn thing?
I don't know.
So,
Kamala. Either one. I
I've
know
heard
what
it
you're
both
talking
ways
about.
many
Yes.
times. I always say Kamala.
Well,
Because that's what I've heard the most.
One of the news agencies says that those on the right are racist for saying it one way, and I'm like, come on, give me a break. But whatever, Kamala, Kamala, whatever her name is.
I heard her say it both ways.
So
Yeah. Well,
so for the essence of this little segment, I think we're in a bit of a honeymoon period for her, and I think, to be fair and honest, that they're giving it a chance to get the polls back and find out how she's polling against Trump. And
when is the DNC?
It's August 17th, I think it is. I'm going up for a wedding in Chicago. I don't think we've seen the end of this. There was a guy I was watching on CNN, in fact, because I've been flipping around all the channels, and they asked him for a prediction. He says, I'm going to quit making predictions. This last 3 weeks have just been mind-blowing. And so I don't think we've seen the end of this thing. Obviously, Joe, he's speaking tonight. So
it's tonight or already, right?
I think he probably won't get to it till about 9 o'clock because they got to make sure the West Coast gets it.
Oh, that's true.
And then he's not awake yet.
Well, he's past his bedtime.
So I think he's gonna. I thought he was gonna come out and say I'm done, but I don't know. So I don't want to make.
Oh, you mean like now?
Yeah, I don't see that happening, but there is pressure that. Well, they're saying if you hadn't been good enough to run, you should get out now. But I'll be honest with you, Woody, I'm not on that side of the camp. I think Kamala would be served better to be nominated or to be ordained as president. Go ahead and have him drop out, make her the president, and then she walks into this race as the sitting president running against Trump. And I don't have a dog in her camp at all. You know that.
Yep.
But I think politically that would be stronger for her to be the sitting president going into this race.
Well, they might have to, right? Because I heard, and I don't get into the grumblings. I heard something about they're saying it's Biden can't give his delegates to her or something along those lines.
That's done. It's done.
He can't give them to her, but they can agree to vote for her.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what happens August 17th, right?
Well, no, apparently she's got 1,800 of them.
Okay.
That's what the who knows? That's what.
And the one other error we made or assumption we made that would be incorrect is we said maybe Gavin Newsom would be her running mate, but apparently you can't be from the same state on the same ticket.
I was sharing that with Patrick, and again, my Constitution's on the kitchen counter because sometimes I sleep.
Run in and get it.
You want me to?
No.
Anyway, so I don't know if that's true. I've heard it banded around a couple times because they said Trump couldn't pick DeSantis because they live in the same state, and so.
But he's a New Yorker, is he not?
Yeah, well, he's
a Florida resident now.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true or not, but it's been tossed around a couple times, so there may be some validity to it. I should know that, but I don't. But anyway, so here we are. I think we picked as a show. We're batting 1,000. We picked one of the alternatives that have happened, and he's out. And then what happens next, God only knows. So I'm going to leave it to the experts to not know what the hell they're talking about.
Well, there are no experts on this. There's a lot of
wait and see.
Pundits.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So that was that. I didn't want to get too far into that. I did have a weight loss update and a stock market update.
Oh, I can't wait.
And they're both kind of the same. I'm losing weight. The pounds are dropping like the Democratic Party is kicking Joe. So I'm down to 279 pounds from 297.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
In a little bit of time you've done.
Well, I told you I had to get mad about it, right? I had to get mad and pissed off, and here I am. And I've just made a conscious decision. I'm not going to keep carrying this stuff around. So that's working, and I'm using Optavia for our. This is not a sponsored event, but my little friend Debbie.
We'll have to do that.
So that's working, and the stock market game that we're playing, Patrick, maybe you're aware of this. I'm at about 28% return. And so if you're not following the market, today was a take profits from yesterday, and it's major league uncertainty. And, with the things going on at the executive branch, and then, of course, the Fed is getting ready to make a pressured move in September to lower the rate, which I don't agree with. which we could see some more inflation coming our way. But once the Fed pulls the trigger and lowers the rate in September, then we're going to see a rush to get out of the savings accounts back into the marketplace. That's the theory. Anyway,
Did
so
Netanyahu help anything today?
him being here, did that help the market?
Well, the speech he gave was a little bit like, yeah, I'm going to do what I do, so kiss off.
No, the market's definitely pricing in the uncertainty that because now we have to figure out what Kamala's going to do in her policies, which we can all kind of make an assumption they're going to be Joe's policies, or at least the Democratic Party's policies.
Right.
But it's still uncertain. So the market, if you're in it and you're freaking out, don't freak out. It'll just keep plowing along, and as things smooth out, it'll start turning around. So I am becoming more. I can't stop being a buy and hold guy. I've tried this game.
Timing. Yeah.
I can't do it. So I'm buying shares.
You promised me a 40% return, Dave.
Well, it's September 9th. That's when we come back with I'm at 27% right now, so that's not bad.
It's not 40%.
No, the S&P is about 30 as well. So I could have bought
really?
the S&P, yeah, and just not doing anything.
That's impressive.
But I'm one of those boring buy and hold guys. I am
too.
I like index funds.
Well, that is boring. But buy and hold is the way to go. So
you do it over the long haul, you do well.
That's right. But I only have a short time to live, so I'm in it for the quick return.
He's going all high risk. He's going to
all in. Yeah, all the chips are in. So I'm going out big, or I'm going home.
Going out on the government's dime.
Yeah, that's right. What's Joe going to do? Weight loss? Yeah, I did that. Okay.
Yeah, you did your weight loss. You did your returns.
Yeah. Oh, and I had a funny CVS story.
Okay. Well, hurry up because it's carb cleaning night here in the Woody household. So.
Well, maybe the CVS story isn't that funny. It's just that I don't want to get.
Well, we got 10 minutes. That's enough time.
So I'm at CVS getting my 90-day supply of drugs because
they don't mail it to you.
Well, first of all, my doctor, in their infinite wisdom, and I should know better, but remember I went to the FBLA trip in Orlando. It just happened to coincide on the same month that my end of my 90-day supply of drugs was ending. And so they wouldn't renew the prescription until I went to see the doctor. So then you call the doctor, and of course, like, well, we can see in March, Mr. Theus. How's that? And so I short of cursing the people out, I got them to give me 30 days, and I made an appointment to go see my doctor last week. And so he reminded me that this was time for me to get my what's that thing called? Not colostomy. Colonoscopy.
And I'm this Friday, buddy, 2 days away from me. I start my prep tomorrow night.
Just had one in May.
Really? Is it fun?
No, you get out of here. You've had one.
I've done the poop in the box. So 5 years ago, he told me about this thing you can poop in a box. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? And he goes,
Cologuard or whatever it is?
Cologuard, yeah.
So
every time that commercial comes on, I tell my wife the same joke. I go, look, it's the shit liquor.
So they send you this box, right? So 5 years ago, I'm
punched over a box.
Yeah, I'm like, I hope I don't miss. That's the whole thing. So anyway, we accomplished that. And so the doctor goes, you did fine 5 years ago, but it's time again for your thing. What do you want to do? I said, I'm pooping in the box because the most rewarding thing is not only that.
Smelling that baby.
but taking it to the UPS store and going, I got a prize.
That's why Patrick goes every week. Yeah, if I got a box,
I can always tell when Dave's been there.
I swear to God.
Dave was doing his Cologuard again.
Yeah, they know what it is, right? And I'm like, yeah, this one's kind of steamy still. So anyway,
I've never heard of this option.
So here's the funny thing. I got a text this morning, okay? And it's from Cologuard. And they're like, because I've been, I don't want to do it like on Saturday night.
You exceeded your allotment. No.
I don't
there was extra postage due on the last one he mailed back.
Yeah, this is way under postage. I don't know what you've been eating. But I don't want it sitting in the house, for a week, and I got to get it timed right. So hold on a second. Let me find this email. Oh, crap. I got a text.
No kid.
Hold on. Oh gosh.
Should we talk about something else, Woody? While he's
I don't know.
Hold
I don't
on.
know how you
Here it
come
is.
off
Here it
this
is.
subject.
So they sent me this text says, please complete and ship your Cologuard collection kit as soon as possible. So they're waiting desperately for my return. So
so they mailed it to you. You should email back. I sent it a week ago.
So I think everything's the stars are aligning. You know, I feel like I got a good thing coming up, and I'm gonna exercise my right to use the box.
I can't see that as an option for the normal
Okay,
colonoscopy.
so let's take it back to the dog owners. When you go to the vet, they ask you to bring a feces sample in so they can see for worms, right? That's basically what they're doing, isn't it? I mean, they're looking for worms.
No,
they're not worms. They're
looking for
I think
polyps and stuff on the inside of your.
But apparently, when the stuff passes through and comes in contact with the polyps, I guess it
rubs off.
Something it takes with it that shows up in the Cologuard sample.
But they take they do a biopsy and everything while they're in there.
Well, only if they find something. You guys are rank amateurs.
Yes.
My regularity speaks for itself. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't want to end on a high note or a low note, but that's what I got going in my world. So I'm going to smoke about 12 cigars, go to Taco Bell, and then fill the box.
You'll ruin your diet and help your diet at the same time going to Taco Bell. So,
all right.
Is that your CVS story, though?
No, the CVS story was a response to the text I sent you. And
I
don't want to get into the language, but I sent Woody a text. It
was precursors. We had a group text with a bunch of old Sigma Chi's.
Yeah,
and,
Lou was retired.
Well, Lou's not Sig, but he hung out with us. He retired as a undersheriff of 34 years.
Well, I was going to say something about your comment about the teabag thing, but I didn't want to go there in the text.
He knows that one. I told Lou that one.
So I stayed away from that, and I don't want to say it. But anyway, I did my response to Woody, and it tickled me. You know, when you do something that makes you laugh and you can't, it's kind of funny. You think it's funny. Well, I'm standing in line at CVS to get my drugs, and does your CVS go to lunch during the day?
I don't know. I don't go to
my pharmacy. I'm like,
just the pharmacist.
The gates are closed, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? They're at lunch.
They're like, Dave's bringing his Cologuard.
hit the skids. There he is with the Cologuard box. Anyway, so I'm waiting around. I hit the text to Woody, and I'm laughing. I'm about to pee myself in the aisle, and this guy comes over and goes, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Excuse me." And he's like inquiring. I'm like, get away from me, man. You know, who are you talking to? So I don't know. It was funny. You had to be there, but
no, I tickle myself on certain replies. So, like I said, and then and then after I said it, I go, oh crap! I wonder if anybody else knows that was funny. You know,
a lot of times not, but it's all that matters. Being selfish. All right. So what's going on at the Woody house tonight?
I told you we're doing carb cleaning night.
Carbohydrates or
carburetors. You drive old car. Yeah. Well, if it's fuel injector, you get the fuel injectors clean, but we're cleaning the carburetors tonight for the cars that still have them. And the lawnmower, the weed whacker,
That's a lot of carburetors.
Oh yeah. Tell me about it.
Do you use pipe cleaners or do you use that chemical?
Chemical, spray the inside with chemical. But then since I'm the eldest, I have to, blow through the jet ports on the carburetor to clean them out. So you get a little bit of the carb cleaner, in your mouth and swallow it, stuff like that.
How did the fireflies go? Are they safely and removed?
We don't move them. We just move them around the house, right? So they don't blink as a beacon through the window.
Is there any one of those things, Patrick, that you found amusing that he does sometimes in the idiosyncrasies?
He did mention.
I'm not sure that I know what the right word is. I think I use dubious endeavors or something like that.
Yes,
I think you were polite about it. Exactly.
All right. Well, Woody's got some idiosyncrasies that I care not to try to understand. So, anyway, what do you think about tonight's show, guys? So this is our second.
Second, yeah, but that wasn't so much an interview as it were. We didn't have this angle back with.
No, we didn't. You think Brad. It's got any merit? What do you think, Patrick? You were.
I don't know how much entertainment value it had for others, but I was entertained.
Okay.
I think
Well, I mean, that's
I
kinda
think
our
you'll be
motto.
amazed when you listen back, and actually you'll find yourself giggling and stuff. So hopefully that's the case.
Well, our attempt is to the fact that we're and this sounds corny, but what is that thing they say? The chains of brotherhood or broken? What is that thing that silly
Chains of
thing?
Brotherhood,
You're asking the wrong guy.
Bonds of Brotherhood.
The bonds of brotherhood aren't broken or something. I don't know. There's something unique about us as a fraternity, and I think it really speaks more to the guys that were involved. And I know Woody and I waxed on this a couple times, but this 50th anniversary thing we went to, and I know Patrick, you feel the same way, and you're welcome to elaborate if you want to. That was a very special occasion, and I'm just glad that I went. And I call you're one of the guys I call the great ones, and I'm going to put a face. My goal is to put a Facebook post and picking all the right pictures, not just about me, but all the guys who I considered the great ones. So when I'm 70 in 10 years, my Facebook will go, hey, I got a memory. Here's the memory of our
There they
50th
are.
anniversary. So there's
Good thing you're the oldest of all the 50-year veterans.
Who is?
You.
Yeah, I think only Joe Hartman was older than him.
Runkle was the only one older. Thanks, guys.
Anytime.
No, I just think, I don't know. There's something to be said that we can pick up the phone or get on a call like this, and over 35 years have gone by, and be able to pick up our we're not going to take long showers together and be at your Christmas party, but at the same time, we get a chance to catch up and relate. It's been fun.
Yeah. I don't, Dave. I know you were in the morning meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but Woody was not.
No,
No,
I
he
was
was.
there.
See, I knew you'd be missed.
I sat right next to Dave.
No.
Remember, I came by because I didn't recognize you until you stood up and said your name, and I'm like, oh shit,
But anyhow, I think what I said in the morning meeting, the most enduring relationships in my life were really created through Sigma Chi. Just the fact that I hadn't seen Theus since college. What was the first thing I said to you, Dave?
I was drunk.
Oh, I said, come over here and give me a big hug, man. Come on, Pops. Because it was as if no time had passed.
Yeah.
And just, fell right into it. Matinka I went to high school with too. He was like my best friend in high school. And we kind of keep in touch, but we've only seen each other a handful of times.
Yeah.
Since we graduated from college, but just hanging out with him those couple of days, and he was just right back with that wit, and just one-liners, one after another that, you can hardly keep your breath because you're laughing so hard.
and you stay connected to Psychos, is that right?
Yeah. It was interesting that, right after we graduated, for whatever reason, and I probably would, if you would have asked me, who's the guy you think you're going to have the deepest relationship with, over the coming years, I probably wouldn't have said Jim. But yet that's just how it worked out. You just things, whatever it be, and it's probably more because of him being better at reaching out than I am. And so, that's something I wish, I'm able to critique myself. Yeah. And that's one of the things about myself that I wish I didn't have this. I've got this ability to just compartmentalize things.
You're selfish.
Turn it off and turn it on, and, he's not like that. And so it's more probably because of his effort initially reaching out. But, man, we vacation together, our families every year. I just, week before last, I was in North Carolina with Jim in our place out near Asheville. Spent a week with him out there. He's got his daughter's much younger. My kids are grown. His daughter is 14. But I took my granddaughter, and they got along famously. My granddaughter's only 9. And they're both named Kira. That's what's hilarious.
Oh, wow.
So it was Big Kira and Mini Kira for the week. So
very good.
Yeah.
Well, there's something, I don't know what it is, but it's a good thing. So I'm glad.
I wish others good luck in finding the same sort of thing in their lives as well. And fraternity is one way to possibly do that.
Yeah. Well, we need community. That's what I like about it. It's a form of our community, whether it's a religious, faith-based community or a social, whatever it is. We're designed by God to be members of a community. So that's my speech for tonight. All right, Woody.
Yeah,
Good
you want to
stuff.
say goodnight? Yeah. You want to say goodnight?
Well, Patrick, thank you for being on
Yeah.
our journey tonight. I think this is
Thanks for having me, guys. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
As we always say, I'm Dave.
I'm Woody.
Oh, and I'm Patrick.
Hey. And you've been he's quick too, man.
Yeah, I know. Look at that.
And
He's professional,
subscribe.
Dave.
Woody wants you to subscribe because he's painfully into that. But
Yeah.
do the YouTube, press like, hands up, flush the toilet, whatever it is you're supposed to do, hit the bell. And then please listen to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, whatever. And you've listened to yet another episode of We Can Help with Dave and Woody. So until next time, guard well.